Hey, Alexandra, it's been a minute since you were in the Lawyer Book Builder Rainmaker Development Program. It was fun to have you in that group.
Yeah, absolutely. It was great experience for me to be able to hear different perspectives from people in other firms in my same position. I really enjoyed it.
That's part of the reason why we're doing this podcast now too, is just that this community is just so good at sharing information with each other. And it was really nice and robust that people were like, yeah, I just want to help you, help your lawyers. So it
Yeah.
was a good experience. It was a great experience.
I think someone on another podcast of yours mentioned something like that, something about especially people within the Legal Marketing Association. While we might be competitors, we're also really collaborative and really congenial, and we really want to help each other succeed. It's not like they're going to take what I said and then go replicate it and beat me at a pitch or something like that. So people
Right,
really
right.
do want to help each other out.
I mean, I think in as many, I just said it in the last podcast conversation that I had for an episode that hasn't come out yet. It is just remarkable. And I think that, part of the safety in doing that is that all of these firms are so different, and the personalities, well, I think that there are a lot of universalities in the way lawyers operate and work and do business and run businesses. Every firm is different and the personalities are different. It would be really hard, I think, to replicate exactly, even if a person wanted to. So it's
Mhm.
nice to do. When we were chatting before I hit record, you were talking about something interesting that you're doing with your team that would be fun to dive deep into. You're working on developing and inspiring and elevating the roles, and the responsibilities that those folks are doing. I suspect that it's not just for them, that ultimately, like the reason you're doing that is to help dig deeper with the lawyers. But let's talk about what you're doing with your team. It sounds exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And elevate is the word that I use, and education as well. So before I came on board, there was not really a business development function. There was mostly just marketing, and there was a marketing manager. And I'm coming in at a chief marketing and business development level. So that's a big mouthful, and that's a lot of expectations and things in educating of the attorneys as to what business development actually is and how our team can be different. So while the prior regime was extremely responsive and helpful, it would be that the attorneys would ask for something and they would just give them what they asked for, versus what we are asking a lot of questions and trying to do more value add. And that's something that from an internal business development perspective is sometimes embraced and sometimes pushed off, like raised eyebrows. Why are you asking me so many questions? Why is it a boomerang? Why every time I ask you to do something, it's another question and another question? And it's like, because we're trying to add value, right? So
Yeah.
first, it's about educating the attorneys to say, if you ask me to print something in blue ink on a blue piece of paper, I'm probably going to say, is there a reason for that? Is this part of a game? Because you realize that you can't actually see the blue. Are you giving them extra tools? Another example, I mean, that's just not a real example, but
Right.
another example would be if we're doing a pitch and it's for a specific industry and the person's bio does not mention anything about that industry. It's like, well, we can customize the bio just for this. We don't have to change it on the website. But if we're going to give something for a financial services organization and everything on your bio talks about healthcare, that's not really putting our best foot forward. We really want a bespoke solution for them. And that's simple, but it can just get more and more and more complicated. And so things are taking a lot longer. But at the end of the day, I think the attorneys are happy with the end result. They just have to be educated as to why. The other thing is, I was in an interesting situation in which 3 out of 4 of my staff quit within 3 months of me coming on
Oh
board.
no. Oh no.
So instead of replacing them, I told everyone this is not about replacing, this is about elevating. So everyone got a different brand new title. They got, you know, paid adequately for what they were doing. And I keep explaining, people be like, oh, you're the new Bob. And it's like, no, this isn't the new Bob. This is a completely different person. Their role is different. This is how they're going to serve you in their new position. And
And
I'm
and
elevating the team.
did you do that strategically, not only to for the benefit of the team members to step into roles that maybe their mindset was better for or their skill set was better for, but also as an opportunity to kind of take those steps in rebranding your new approach with the lawyers as well, right? Like it's not the new Bob. You know, Bob is gone.
Right.
This is better for you, and here's why. Like, was it a strategic opportunity in both ways?
I wish I could say that it was totally strategic. I was more in panic mode, but I didn't wanna rush and just replace. I wanted the
Yeah.
best candidates, and I was very fortunate that I had a great in-house recruitment team that most of my new team came from, but I was like, I one person, for example, was just an assistant, very low level, and I did not want that. I wanted people that had experience, that I can teach them to grow, but also that came to the table, preferably having law firm experience, knowing what they're dealing with, working with attorneys, giving me examples of how they've succeeded in the past. And yes, I think to say, this is my team now, and this is what my department can do for you, as opposed to the old regime.
What was the process, or what was the experience? I mean, you mentioned that there was some friction from the lawyers not being used to dealing with folks this way, but like, what were some of the successes that came out of it?
I think the successes is that we have better products overall. I think that they are very understanding from the a lower level associate who mentioned to me like he's I think he's been with the firm for 2 years and he said, "I I don't know what marketing ever did before you started working here, and I just know you're doing something." And I every time I see your name, I'm like, "There she goes again. She's doing something." And I was like, "Okay, I guess that's a compliment to the person whose name is on the door, who
Yeah.
really values my insights into recommendations of what we should be doing, whether it's from a budget perspective, a PR perspective, things like that." So things are taking longer, but the attorneys are being patient because I'm explaining. Like we have a guide that we've published, I don't know how many years, and they just said, just do it how you always do it. That's how what the kind of thing that we used to get. And we went to print it and we're like, oh my, we looked at the one from last year and like words were smudged together because no one proofread it. They just did. They just took the file and printed it. And when it went to print, it didn't work out well to go from one page to the next, or there was typos in there and it was just poor quality. And we kept finding more and more of these things. So most of my team has been here only just over a year. I've been here less than 2. And basically the new mantra is if the answer is this is how the old regime did it, let's assume that it was wrong and let's come up with a different way to do it. And
Right.
that's no offense to the old team. That's just we're a different machine now.
Right. Right. And the industry's changing. It's more competitive, and right, you have to elevate the level, not just of the individuals, but of the service that you're offering. Did you bring with you this idea about elevating these folks, or was it honestly, like you said earlier, like you were presented with this challenge and you went into survival mode?
The
But
latter. It wasn't.
smart survival mode, though.
But, I forget who once mentioned every time somebody leaves, no matter what role it is in what industry, it's always an opportunity to look at that role and say, what do we want? Let's really think about what's right now, as
Mhm.
opposed to what was right when we had these people on board. Um, and even within the people that I've hired, I'm starting something called 2.0. So we don't give annual reviews at their anniversary date. We give it at the end of the year for everyone, regardless of when they started. And most of my team started in May or June, again, because I started in January and everybody left. Um, so I'm calling it like Christo 2.0. So they look at their job description for when they got hired. We're going through and saying, okay, I do this, I do that. I still haven't done this or that. Do we even need you to do this anymore? Things are changing so quickly with AI and everything within the marketing roles at law firms. And then what would you like to do that you haven't gotten to do? And that's giving them their own opportunity to elevate themselves and to essentially create a job for themselves and expand the role that they have without having to go elsewhere. We're only a team of 5. There's not a very clear hierarchy in terms of moving up. It's just moving horizontally and adding to your resume in for wherever they might go in the future. I don't expect them to stay here for the rest of their lives, but I hope by doing something like this, it will encourage them to stay longer, keep things interesting. Basically, they're making their own job description, and they seem to like it. So,
Yeah, and I was going to ask you about that. Like, if it's part of what we talk about, or what we talked about in that program, and as coaches and people who support lawyers in business development, we talk about what we're going to measure in order to know whether we're making progress or not. So, is your team seeing that, not just a difference in what their job was, but also, are they seeing progress? Are they seeing a difference that they're making? Or what's the evolution in their experience in working with the lawyers? I know it's been a short time, so maybe it's not enough time.
yeah. I think one of the things that I really encourage them to do is to be client facing, meaning not the clients of the firm, but the clients of the marketing team, which are the attorneys, right?
Mhm.
Because they could hide behind me and everything is coming from the chief. Instead, once they're established as being the go to person for something, of course, I will look over their correspondence before they send it and things of that nature, but I want it to come to them. I want them This is a very pop in your office kind of firm.
Mhm.
So I encourage them whenever possible, especially if it's good news, to deliver the good news in person so they start to associate
Yeah,
my
good.
team with positive
Great.
experiences.
That's great.
Legal marketers are in this very odd situation in which we need people who are not our employees to do things for us. So the attorneys, we need them to do things, and we have to, my old boss used to call me chief accountability officer,
Yeah.
or chief nag officer, as I would call it, but accountability sounds better.
Nudge. I've heard nudge as well.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
like the
nudge.
accountability, and
Yeah.
attorneys appreciate it. They're like, "Please bug me," and I'll put reminders on their calendars, and then I try to teach my team to do the same. And so, even so, something as simple as we had new business cards, and I had someone on my team go door to door delivering the business cards, and she was in the best mood because everyone was so excited. They looked great, and so next time when she's like, "Where's your update on this?" They're not going to be like, "Oh, she's such a nudge," but they'll be like, "Oh yeah, she gave me my business cards."
Yeah. 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 And it is a dance, just like client relationships too, right? You have to sort of move slowly and carefully. You can't just whipsaw the change. And so I think, yeah, that's great. It's a good approach to bring them good news, and then butter them up a little bit for when you actually need something. You're making investments like the lawyers are in the business
Yeah.
development framework, right? Like, you're making investments in the relationship account. You're showing value. You're providing great client service, like all the things that we tell the lawyers to do. It's great. It's great. You're
Yeah, and
modeling.
then
You're modeling for them how they should treat their clients, right?
yeah, and then, with the 2.0, I don't do it enough, and the good thing is, like I said, that we just had all these conversations in May, and it's still June, right? So one of them just had her anniversary, we still have to do that one, but it gives them basically 6 months to say what they wanna do so that when they get their review at the end of the year, it's not being, from what they told me that they wanted in December, A. B, when they start to get down these paths where attorneys are asking them to do things and they're spending a lot of time on certain things. I'm like, okay, what about this thing that you said that you wanted to do? Where is this on your list? And one of the things that business owners always say that they do is they make time for being creative and being strategic. And I think that that's something that I know that I struggle with in terms of having time to just sit there and work on a project. But I said, if this is, they say, there's too many things going on. Well, we've made it so almost everyone is cross trained on not everyone on my team knows how to do everything, but at least 2 people know how to do each thing.
That's great. That's great.
So, if there's an instance in which I really want them to be able to work on this creative project, I said, "Okay, you're gonna put your out of office on and say, 'I'm working on a project.' And someone else on the team is gonna take over," especially if it's people on my team who are constantly putting out fires and everything is, "I need you to do this now." At least they're getting a response and someone else is filling in. So, I think that's really good. The other thing in terms of success is, listen, it's not like it's in writing anywhere, but I have either heard in public meetings, got feedback through the grapevine that was said at public meetings that this is the best team that the marketing team that the firm has ever had in its 45 years of existence.
Wow.
And that is from people
Wow.
who have been with the firm for decades. And that's not just Alexandra, they are saying this about the team, and that, like, I think I just got some goosebumps when I said it, because that just makes me really proud.
Of course.
And that we are having influence in a time that is really important for our firm, as we're changing our name, we're going through all these things. We have new leadership. This is a really pertinent time for our firm, and we're part of that, and they appreciate us, and that's a huge win in my opinion.
That's astonishing. You should be proud. Like that is amazing. It occurs to me that what you're doing not only is benefiting the firm and not only is visible to the lawyers that are receiving this new best in class service at that firm for this department, but you're also equipping these folks. Like you said, there isn't necessarily, a pathway for everyone to ultimately land in your chair, but they're going to go elsewhere and do that, and they're going to maybe take this model with them for how to lead. Like, you're not just helping them be better members of the team, but you're teaching them how to lead in a pretty remarkable way, it seems like. So I hope you
I've
feel
been
proud of that
really
too.
I do. I've been really lucky that a, a lot of the bosses that I've had over the years have treated me like a team member instead of like an employee. And, I tell them I'm still in touch with most of my former bosses. Like, we'll text each other, we'll have phone calls, and I talk to them about little sayings that they had that I still implement now. And I think that that's important to continue that, and to tell people that you believe in them, and to give them the chance to try things out before they are in leadership, and to speak their opinion. I like I literally have an open door. Maybe it's too open because there's like a line of people out at at any given moment. But
As it should be, I think.
yeah, but that's how the whole firm is, up until the guy whose name is on the door and the founder, right? So, but they know that they can come in and disagree with me, and it's not that I tell them, "Here's a cookie, go sit in a corner and be quiet because this is how it
Right.
is." It's like,
Right.
all right, I'll either be like, "You're right," or I'll like argue with me about it, or I'll be like, "In
Yeah.
this case, it's not really worth. Do you really want to fight that fight?" I mean, it's just very candid
Yeah.
conversations, and I'm just loving seeing them all grow in their role, and how leadership is noticing it and appreciating it as well.
That's amazing. That's amazing. There are, I know, I mean, in every firm that I've worked in, and it's been a lot since 1990. That's a long time ago. Um, but there are folks that are fearful and don't assert their own expertise as much as they should. And I'm glad that, I mean, some of that's a culture thing, and it sounds like the culture at your firm, has been helpful in that, but you're also building those relationships and making those investments into those relationships across your team and with the lawyers. Um, what would you say to a person? So let's say you had one of your great people got a great opportunity and they're moving to a different firm and you're very happy, and they're going to count you as a great boss when they leave, and you get this new person in, and maybe it didn't surface in the interview process, but they're timid. How would you coach a new team member to embrace confidence in their own skill set?
Um, well, I have to say, at this point, I don't think I would hire someone that's timid. I'm not
Yeah.
going to hire someone that is me, because that's just out of control. You can't have five Alexandras running around. There'll be
As much
chaos.
as much as we want that. Yeah, I'm certainly
But
you would sniff that out. But like, how
I
do you
have
how do you coach development in these people?
So, again, an example from my old firm, I had a wonderful coordinator. She was over experienced, but she had left the industry for a while to raise her child, and then came back. And she knew that she still needed to learn, even though she had a lot of experience, and she was just so well written, and well spoken, and all of that. And she would stand behind and what is the status of this? Well, they didn't get back to me, which means you sent them an email just like the attorneys, I'm going to turn
Yep.
it around because you've done this
Yep.
on your other podcasts is, well, they didn't get back to me. How many times did you email them? Once. And then they put they pout and they put their head down, right? I'm like,
Busted.
go into their office, and she would like turn white, right? Like, oh my God, I can't go into their office. And at one point she was like, I loved that you made me go into their office because it prepared me for when I became a higher level person and I had to do that. I had to not be afraid to what my old boss would call is walk thick carpets that you could just walk across. Did you ever hear this expression? It was like
No.
he would say this to me, "You walk thick carpets." I'm like, "I don't know what that means." But he was basically like, I would walk across the room to the head honcho of the whole organization without even thinking, like, "Is this appropriate?" I just figured I could, you know?
Aren't we supposed
And
to?
in Alexandra's world, right? But she was intimidated, and
Sure.
there are studies out there that say, I forget the percentage, so I'm not gonna make them up, but let's just say that if you email, it's significantly less that they're gonna say yes. If you call them on the phone, it's multiple times more likely. This is from business development coaching. I'm gonna say
Mhm.
4 times more likely just to give you an example, but these are
Sure.
not accurate. 4
Right.
times more likely that they're gonna say yes. And then if you ask them in person, it's like 10 times more likely that they're gonna say yes, because it's harder to say no to someone when they are face to face with you. So,
Yeah.
if you need something from someone who's not your subordinate, the best way to get them to do it is to ask them in person,
Yeah.
not send one email and say they didn't get back.
And say they didn't, and then it's on them. Yeah. Yep. Seen it. Probably
Yeah.
done it. Uh,
So, again, that's the attorneys do it as well, and we need to stop them from doing that.
so here we are in the middle of the year, beginning of Q3 tomorrow. What does 6 months from now look like at review time? What do you, well, maybe now is not the time to talk about it because perhaps your
'Cause they're
team
gonna
will
be
be listening.
'cause they have to post this podcast, and they're gonna go, "Oh, now I know what's gonna happen."
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I don't want to hold it until December, so we'll have to. But like, what do you anticipate is going to happen at that time? What kinds of things are you going to hear from your team? How are those reviews going to go?
Um, the thing is, and again, I've gotten this from past bosses, and I think it's and my current boss, quite frankly, is it's really about on the spot feedback.
Mm,
So, they should never be surprised with anything that they
yeah.
hear from me, and hope that I shouldn't be surprised with anything that they tell me either. I hope that they'll come to me when they are struggling and be honest and tell me that they need a break. But I meet with most of them at least biweekly, if not every single week, to do a check-in.
Perfect.
Um, I still want to figure out how to carve out more time for those longer projects. And I think
Yeah.
that where I fault myself is that I will say, it could wait." I'll keep telling them that their deadline can be pushed because it's not a fire, but I need to stop doing that because and lately I've been like, "This has now been 3 months. I don't want it to see it on your to-do list again, ever.
Right.
Get it
Right.
done and let's move on," you know?
Right. Because there's value even if it's not a fire in just getting it done, right? And then there's so much reward in just like the accomplishment of it,
Yeah.
too. So yeah,
So most of them have things they need to do within the next few months, and hopefully they'll see that as they know that they have to do their own self-evaluation and that they can put in there that we discussed this in the middle of the year and that they accomplished it. And then they
yeah,
could go into that review process feeling proud of what they did.
yeah, yeah. That's what I was looking for. That's great. That's fantastic. Are you speaking about leadership anywhere that we should know about? I think you should. If you're not,
Uh, Thank you. No, I have not been I used to speak a lot more frequently, and I haven't been since I started this job. I'm
yeah.
also on the regional board of the Legal Marketing Association as their secretary.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but if you know of opportunities, I am definitely open. I'm
Yeah.
usually the interviewer because I have
Oh,
journalism experience and,
oh, that's
um,
great.
yeah, I actually moderate I used to be in accounting before legal, and,
Okay.
at the end of each year, I do a 14-hour 2-day. It used to be 1 day, which was insane, but 2-day, 7 hours each day, continuing education marathon of panels. I moderate all of those panels for the accounting profession, but a lot of it crosses over into legal. It's like,
Yeah.
how to find and retain staff, how to market your firm, things of that nature. So,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
I am used to being the questioner and not the questionee, but I am
Okay.
definitely open for it.
Awesome. Good. Well, I hope this went okay for you sitting on the other side of the table. Uh,
Absolutely.
it's great to see you. I'm thankful to have you on, and it's great to know you. And again, man, you should be proud of yourself, and they should be proud of themselves too. The members of your team, like that's a pretty interesting, amazing transformation that you brought those people through. So good for you. Good for them. We're following along to see more great things. So
All right.
thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Christo. Been a pleasure.
The BD Catalyst, a podcast for law firm business development and marketing changemakers, is brought to you by Lawyer Book Builder and BDBuddy.ai, technology designed to help law firms create an exceptional culture of business development. Our host is Christo Sween, and our editor is Melanie Cristostomo. The BD Catalyst is a production of the David Freeman Consulting Group. Learn more at davidfreemanconsulting.com.